Hello everybody and welcome to one more video on big units, and this time let's see the Ukrainian ground army, namely a mechanized brigade made of 1 tank battalion and 3 armored infantry battalions, mechanized infantry battalions of course, and its evolution along the war. So we will see here more or less in this part the beginning of the army when the Russian invasion happened in February 2022. Mostly Soviet equipment and some indigenous Ukrainian equipment, and then started all along 2022 started to arrive plenty of material from the Eastern Bloc. And around the Kharkiv offensive, there were more Italian, more American, French, German vehicles coming, and finally a third part for this latest counteroffensive that failed during the summer, with more German and British and American and whatever material. The 34 countries that provided weapons to the Ukrainians could find. So let's see things in detail. Let's start with the tank battalion. The tank battalion, the basic tank battalion, American organization being used here. So 3 companies of around 17 tanks each, which here in our rules comes to 3 vehicles per company. You see here the 10 vehicles of the battalion. So this is the T-64 BV. These models are Mini General with a metal commander over there. And with digital camo, of course, everywhere, which is typical of the Ukrainian machinery. Not only the ground forces, but also the aircraft are also painted with digital camo. There is then for the command of the infantry mechanized regiment, you see here a ZIL truck. This one is ICM, if I'm not mistaken. Then you see here a battalion with BMP-2s. And BMP-1. BMP-2s are Mini General, and BMP-1s are repainted Fabbri. Now for the Bucephalus, the famous Bucephalus, which is an indigenous vehicle in Ukraine, very large infantry fighting vehicle. Also Mini General. Just a few mirrors were added. That commander also was added. Whoops. An antenna, and the rest is the original model. Digital camo again, and two different battalions. Also some BTR 70s are here, and they are repainted Altair. A little bit for the infantry now. You can see here the infantry mostly being made of Eschi, Revel, Orion figures. Plenty of scratch built stuff, like you can see, for instance. You can see, oops, let's try this. Okay, so there are generally the M16 was transformed. You can see on the magazine, ammo magazine. You can see them transferred into Kalashnikovs. Also some extra glasses, and of course the Dragon. For instance, this figure here, this one here to the left, it was actually, if I'm not mistaken, so it became the Dragon became a more modern anti-tank guided missile. There are several types, of course, but none of them are nowadays, I think, supported by bipod. So I change it, and it can look a little bit like the NLAW or with American more modern anti-tank guided missiles. Also, another thing was the addition of RPGs on the back of most of the Ukrainian infantry. Here they are. The other battalion, has the introduction of plenty of NATO SG figures. Again, the Kalashnikov shows up here. In fact, it wasn't. This was probably an FN Belgian FN, but it became a Kalashnikov with addition of that small strip of plastic as a magazine. And you see the other battalion had blue identification tape, and this one has yellow, which are the two colors. Recently, also the Ukrainians are seen with a very light green, tape. So many conversions, as you can see here. This is how I make my infantry. Nowadays, making, in fact, Ukrainian infantry became easier. One of the reasons is that you can pick your old Eshi figures and use them exactly as they are, because the Ukrainians started to use in this counteroffensive plenty of M16s in many of their NATO type brigades. So you can use them exactly as they are. You don't need to have this work by converting M16s or whatever to Kalashnikov, to AK-74s. Even if nowadays, which is funny, the Ukrainians are coming back to the Kalashnikov, because in fact in this winter and in all that mud and all that rainy weather that happens in southern Ukraine nowadays, the M16 appears to be a little bit more fragile. Now going to that second period, in which plenty of ex-Eastern Bloc material arrived. You can see here the T-72s offered by Poland, by Slovakia, by the Baltic countries, painted with these yellow squares. And this is an Altaya with additional era, simply made with blocks of plastic art. And this one is Revel one, the kit itself. The other one is a die-cast, of course. This one is a kit. And it is basically the same, and plenty of additional era made of plastic art. Then you have here the famous Dana, the 152 Danas, SPGs, made by these ones by BPM, battle printed models. Quite nice vehicle and big. And I placed here 3. I have 6, but 3 others are for my Georgians. And also some older Uragans from the basic, from the beginning of the story that I'm telling you. And these ones are Altaya and repainted with the digital camo. Only a conversion here in this Uragan battalion, which is the reloader, which is everything is scratch built. And this I think, if I'm not mistaken, these missiles are made of cocktail sticks. Yeah, a little bit of everything can be used for converting. So this part is seen, but in this second part, in this second batch of help, if I can call it, I mean, first part is the indigenous or ex-Soviet material. This part here is the material offered by during 2022 mostly. And you can see here the famous Hummers, Humvees, American Humvees. Oops, okay. These are 164 die casts with additional turret, of course, and fighter, antenna, exhaust pipe, and painted with those crosses that were used in the Kharkiv and Kherson offensive. There's a BTR 60 of Maltaya also here. Some Polaris buggies also, with the civilian, if I can call it, parts covered with gauze, because I couldn't do the military version. It was too difficult, so I covered this part that shows up very effectively and too much. So I covered it with gauze for it not to be seen. And with the Stugna P anti-tank guided missile and an operator and also driver, the thing becomes at least a funny one. And it was, for some time, at least some. It showed at least some effectiveness, apparently. Also, there is the MSL shields here. These ones go a little bit and try to be instead of many other MRAPs that Ukrainians were provided with, even many of them from Ukrainian manufacturing. But these MSL shields are relatively easy to find. You can find it almost in all shops, in all cheap toy shops. 164 again, not exactly 172nd, but okay. An added turret, and that's all. And a firer over there, and you're done. Also quite nice finding. And an extra wheel to the right side. Some Vabs here, French Vabs, Italeri and Heller. The Panzerobice 2000, the mighty self-propelled NATO gun, if I can call it. Here still with the symbols to be added. I still don't know exactly which symbols these guys have, so I left them. I just painted the German ones because this is ICAST, so I didn't paint them. They're just a little bit of black wash and some dry brush of sand. That's all. So I leave them like this. The same with these martyrs, and now we enter into the third phase and last phase also. There are some martyrs here. They are from old die casts also. I have 2 here. I have 4 more of Revel manufacturing to be made. There is a Gepard here. Also, again, Altaia. Repainted, of course. There are some useful Toyotas, pickups, and things like that. And you have here the Paladins, again Altaia, no repaint, just black wash and dry brush. The AS90 with a little bit of story, because it is a nice vehicle from 4D, at least this part that you can see here. The wheels are awful and they were replaced by T72 wheels and some new tracks, because otherwise it would look like a very strange thing. Then you have the Leopard 1s, A5. These are Eshi models. Plenty of gauze also to hide a little bit of the non-existing details that I was too tired to make. And finally the mighty Leopard A6. Some of them were even sent by Portugal. And this is in fact the Altair version, which is the Leopard 2A5 with shorter 120mm Rheinmetall gun. I placed here the Leopard 2A6, so I had to use some cover for the elongated gun tube, and I disguised it like that, and with the new symbols. And this is it. This is my Ukrainian army up to the moment. In the future, I'll make at least one it will be here somewhere. Infantry Battalion, just plain Americans repainted. So with M16, as I told you before, I'll add some company of Bradleys. 3 Bradleys, in fact, which will represent a battalion, more or less. 4 more Marders. Some M1 Abrams also painted in the, I don't know exactly how it will be, the Ukrainian scheme. Let's see what comes there, and also some Challengers. And this is it, if I'm not mistaken. Also some aviation. There will be some MiG-29s and Su-27. Hopefully I will have to find also the thing that I still don't have, 1 or 2 Su-25 Frankfurt. Let's see if I can find these guys. Also maybe a MIL-Me-24 in Ukrainian colors. But if you want to see all this stuff in detail, go to the blog, check how these things were built. At least there is some historical information and some more technical also information, and a little bit more on the way I made these things. Hope you have enjoyed. Thank you so much, and bye bye. See you soon with another video on big units. Bye bye.